G'day and welcome back for more Space Engineers Survival, and oh, I'm so looking forward to what we've got in store today. I love playing around with the physics in Space Engineers. It's kind of the big reason why I play it a lot more than I play a lot of other games. And today, the plan is to fly the Nugget, which is loaded up with a whole bunch of goodies, to a nice little vantage point so that we can lob stuff over the valley. What I'm planning on doing is testing a whole bunch of... Oh, the silly thing. Hang on a second. Turn that on. What I'm planning on doing is testing a whole bunch of different contraptions to see which one's going to work out the best in terms of being a physics-based launcher, or what I'm just going to call a catapult, even though it's probably not technically a catapult, but that's fine. It's just a catapult. It's a catapult from now. Catapult. Can I say catapult again? Catapult. So what I'm going to do is try a few designs I've been thinking of, and I've also been suggested some interesting ones that I want to test. Some of these I have built before in creative mode, so I've got a bit of an idea what I'm going to try and do. Others, however, I have not. And I have no idea how I'm going to do it. So those could end spectacularly disastrously, or could end really disappointingly disastrously. I don't know. But I think it should be fun to test this in survival. Rather than in creative where, you got unlimited access to stuff, there's no real cost to anything, so you just kind of go a bit wild. I don't know. It just feels right to test it in survival for this. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a little platform about where the Nugget is and set up my catapults on that. And I'm hoping to launch stuff at least 800 meters, which I think should put me... That's 500 meters from it. Oh, maybe it's across this little valley. I thought it was just going to be that one. And 800 meters. So about here. Okay. Ooh, maybe I want to move the Nugget a bit further forward. What I might do is just line up to this side of this valley here. Make myself a kind of marker that's the equivalent of a range marker on a driving range. And we'll go range 800 meters. And then I'll head back to the other side and I'll build the platform at about 0 meters. This isn't really needing to be 100% accurate. It just needs to be good enough that if I can exceed that marker comfortably, I know that we're going to be good to go. Oh, this could actually work out really nicely. I know that we're going to be good to go to outrange the enemy bases. Oh, this has worked perfectly. We're going to launch from the edge of the valley here. Yeah. Nice. All right. Let's line up to that. Build something into the hillside. And then, since this is all going to be small grid machinery, we need to pop a couple of batteries, although I'll use transformer blocks, I reckon. Oh dear. Oh, see ya. I'll chase you. In fact, what I might do is quickly run down to the base and grab a couple more hydrogen bottles to pop into the Nugget as well, because I don't think I loaded any up there. And even though I've said it before that using the transformer blocks can feel a bit cheaty because you get your battery components back, I think it's worth it in this case. This is just a test rig. I'm going to cost myself so much with all of the chunks of stuff that I'm going to fire. And on the topic of stuff that I'm going to fire over the valley, and what I will eventually fire at the enemy base, it's going to depend a little bit on what travels the furthest. Given that Space Engineers has no wind resistance, in theory, it shouldn't matter how heavy an object is as to how far I can get it. So, as long as I can get an object of the particular mass I'm looking at up to the same speed, so that's going to depend on how strong the mechanism is, whatever the mechanism can throw up to a particular mass should go the same distance. Wait, that didn't make sense. What I mean is, if the mechanism can get a mass of 200 kilos up to 100 meters per second, and can also get a mass of 500 kilos up to 100 meters a second, I should be equally able to throw either. So I can pick whatever I like as long as it gets up to that peak speed, which should give us some options, assuming I can make something with a strong enough launching mechanism, which makes a lot of sense, obviously, but not necessarily what you expect out of Space Engineers physics. Sometimes you expect nonsense, not sense. All right, we should be relatively protected here in case any of the drones start flying in, because we are right next to some sandbags. That's the other reason I chose this location, because we've still got those sandbags over on the other hillside that hopefully will be able to target the drones, and I could quickly run down to the base to protect ourselves. The first mechanism that I want to test is probably the easiest and quickest to set up. All it involves is a single rotor. Actually, let's give it a bit of extra clearance. A single rotor that is the closest to what I think of as a real-world catapult. So it'll be one rotor set up this way. Then we'll have an arm coming off it, and the rotor, given it can go a maximum of 60 revolutions per minute, will swing up and will stop at close to vertical, but just shy of it I think is probably best, and we'll see how far we can get the projectile to go. So let's add a couple of blocks like so, and actually we don't really want to bring that out from there. That way. This should be going from 0, which it's currently set at, to negative 90 at the maximum. So if we grab our... Oh, actually, maybe we can do it even better than that. Let's drop this down to an upper limit of 20 degrees. And then we'll set our velocity to 60. And it should have just... Yeah, that was what I was hoping for. It should have just gone down a little bit. Now our maximum angle... And we could use physical objects to block the rotor to go to these angles, but we may as well use just our limits. Makes a lot more sense. And our lower limit should be... Let's go minus 75. Okay. So that's going to move at its maximum speed between those two spots. And if we go to over here, just so I've got a nice little easy way of doing this. If we add a little button over here, we can set it to reverse. So now that I've set that up, we can just set this to reverse, and we should, as we hit the button, be able to get it to go between those two spots. Now I'm not sure, as I've never really tested this, but I think with larger objects, like when it gets heavier, the rotor arm actually has a degree of acceleration based on its maximum force that it can generate. So what I'm thinking about with that is that if the arm is heavy enough, the rotor's force won't be able to accelerate it up to 60 revolutions per minute immediately. It may take a little time for it to reach that peak speed. And I wanted to give myself the extra arc to ensure that it has reached that peak speed by the time it releases the projectile, since that is the moment where we need to have the maximum velocity, speed, whatever, of the rotor. Now, maybe 20 degrees is a bit too low. We might lift it up just a bit from there, because I can't make the arm much longer. And I've currently made it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I want to kind of make it 20 blocks long, as I think that's reasonable to get on board something that moves. So, rotor catapult. Let's set our upper limit to 10 degrees. And that should give me enough ground clearance to add those extra 5 blocks. And make a little cage at the end. 1, 2, 3. Then we'll go one of those. We'll just make the simplest thing possible at first. Something that can easily hold an armor cube. There we go. So that is all we need to start off with. Let's see, just because, you know, throwing things is fun, how far we can get this one to go. And launching in 3, 2, 1, go. Oh yeah. Oh, geez. That's a lot better than I thought we'd do for their first flick. Nice. We landed about down here. Which is, if we look back toward the nugget antenna, 435 meters. So, with very little practice, well, no practice, our first one has gotten almost, well, more than half the range we needed. Awesome. Let's see if we can get some improvement by changing the angles that we start, well, the angle that we finish at, really. Because I'm interested to see whether it'll really make much of a difference. So we'll reverse that. Let's see what happens if we set the lower limit to -60 and just go 15 degrees less. Because then it should be then the cube should be launched on a higher arc, which may or may not go further. I'm not 100% sure. Part of the reason that I'm not sure is because I'm not sure how well this cube sits in this little cup. Because if it doesn't sit very well, it could get flicked out before we even reach the end anyway. So although you could probably use mathematics if you knew exactly when that, exactly how the cube released from the cup, I can't really do it here because I've got no idea when that happens, and I don't think I'll be able to accurately predict it. So let's try again. We got 435 meters last time. Let's see what we do this time. 1, 2, 3. Woo! Oh, much shorter. Okay. That was a fair bit shorter. Let's try the other way. Let's go 15 degrees further up and go right up to 90 degrees. Obviously, this sort of catapult would be fairly easy to set up, and we could probably even set up 2 on a single trailer. You just need to have a welder grinder set up so that it could drop armor into the cups every time they reset. And then it could just keep launching either chunks of armor if you really think, well, they're not going to do any damage. You really should be launching decoys or warheads for being able to either distract or cause a lot of damage. So let's go again. Let's see how far that one goes. Oh no, I'm going to lose it. Nope. Okay. So the first angle I picked is probably about the optimum, which means we're not really going to get enough out of this design. And I wouldn't want to make it much bigger than this. However, we could do something slightly different. So it would still be compact enough to drive along with it. But once we get to the location we're going to use it, we could deploy it. What if instead of using armor blocks the whole way, we use a bunch of pistons so that we can get an ultra long arm going once we actually arrive. So we extend all of these out and get something that will effectively make the end of the lever arm move at a much higher speed. Because we know the maximum speed in terms of degrees per second that this rotor can move, the longer we make this lever arm, assuming we don't make it so heavy that it overcomes the force that the rotor can generate, the faster and the further we'll be able to fling stuff. So, what's that? That's 5 pistons, which is 10 blocks. Let's go 6 pistons. So that's 12. Yeah, if we're going to go pistons, let's just stick it at that. Let's make our little cup, and then I'll get the nugget to come over and weld this so I don't have to do it by hand. I'm also going to need to do a lot of fiddling to get this so that it's not wobbling around like crazy. So we'll grab all our pistons and we'll share inertia tensor for all of them. We will reverse, make sure they're all nice and extended. Our rotor catapult is going to have an upper limit of 0 because I think this arm is going to be too long for it to go even down to -10 degrees, and a lower limit of -75. Oh dear. I don't think the rotor has enough torque. Oh no, it's got enough torque once I max it. It appears to be bouncing. That is not the outcome I was predicting. What happens if I grab our rotor catapult and share inertia tensor on it? Better? Worse? Same? Let's find out. Okay, this arm is obviously a lot longer than the other one. Since the other one would have been 5 meters long. This one is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 meters long. 12 and a bit. So we are much, much longer. Let's see how far we can go with this little cube. Assuming the rotor can do the job. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh! Rats. Is it even trying? Oh, hang on. I have an idea. What happens if I turn that off? What happens if I turn it off for all of these? Oh, it's not strong enough. Since that's not strong enough... Oh no. Yes, it is. That did not go further, though. That could be a speed issue. But either way, this is way too inconsistent. It's just not a workable system, is it? Oh, wow, jeez, it whacked it into the ground. Oh, man, you could have so much fun with this. Just... Oh, wow. Okay. Floppy, bendy piston stick is not a good option. Let's abandon this. This is not going to work. I do have an idea that was suggested to me for getting a bit more speed out of the rotor arm, though, that I think might take us a good chunk of the night to set up. So hopefully by the time I've got it ready to go, it will be morning-ish. Because launching these things at night is really not ideal. Ugh. Alright. Let's retract all these pistons and grind this thing down. For this catapult, what we need to get the maximum range out of it is to get the cup moving as close to 100 meters per second as we possibly can by the time it reaches the top of its arc. So when it releases its ammunition, it's going to be traveling at terminal velocity at that point, and will then get the maximum distance. Once we reach that terminal velocity, then we can adjust the release angle to try and get the maximum distance out of it. We can either increase that maximum velocity by extending the lever arm, and therefore the end of it's going to move much faster since we are capped with how fast we can turn this thing. Unfortunately, as we just experienced, making the lever arm very long, the rotor can't actually cope with it, because the rotor is not very strong when it's on a small grid, and because of the rotor's max speed, there's not a lot, we can't really do anything to make it move faster when we've got a short lever arm. An idea that was given to me by Octavio, who wrote the script for my tram, was to, instead of using the rotor, instead of being limited by the rotor, make the rotor free spin and push the lever arm with pistons. If we make the pistons push close enough to the rotor's how do I say this? If we make the radius between where the rotor pushes and where the center is of the rotor short enough compared to the complete length of the lever arm, we should be able to actually push it faster than the rotor could turn naturally, especially if we compound a number of pistons together, because the pistons actually don't have a very high top speed, but we can stack them all as well because they don't need to move very far for each one. We just need to have as high a speed as possible. So what I'm planning on doing is placing a rotor on here, another rotor on the lever arm, probably somewhere around here as well, and then connecting these 2 points with some pistons, which is going to be interesting to set all of that up, but could be incredibly effective if this works. So we need to weld that one up so it doesn't drop. And now we're going to stack a few pistons, like we often do for making elevators and things, and then finally connect back to this other rotor. So what I might do is just come off to the side. If we go one piston there. So if we nest a few of these like we often do, then grab another piston. Maybe we'll start with 4 just so I'm not going crazy over the top. I think this could be a more compact way of doing this. Actually, let's make it look prettier. No, not prettier. Let's stick with this. That one. Then using a 2x1 slope tip there. Then going back to one of that. Back to a pair of those, then another piston. Same thing again, and we'll do that for 4 pistons. What we need to do is bring this armor line back so that we can try and connect it up to this rotor. And I maybe should have left a bit more room there. This could possibly be an issue. Obviously, when I do the final design, I'm going to try and make something a little bit more attractive and a little bit less ridiculous. In fact, we may need to, just so that I can actually get this connected up to the other rotor properly. Pop a piston in there so that I can adjust the offset a bit. So we want to go one of those, and then hopefully this will work. Oh no, I've got a piston head there. Rotor head, I should say. Oh, wait. Ah, no. I did it wrong. What I should have done first was extend at least one of these pistons so that I've got a bit of clearance to play with. There we go. Now I can line this up just slightly above that rotor, and then I'll bring it down and it'll lock off nicely. So lining up that rotor and lined up. Let's hop into the menu and attach it. Nope, it's not that one. It's this one. There we go. So now we've got this in a little bit of a loop. Let's grab the nugget and weld up what we need. Oh dear, I really can't see much when I'm piloting this thing. Might go in first person. I can actually see more. Let's gently land the nugget without being able to properly see what I'm doing. Thud. Perfect. Gentle as anything. Okay, so now we need to turn... Now we can turn this rotor off. And we should be able to turn this one off as well. In fact, I'm not going to turn the catapult one off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set its torque to 0. So now its angle, in terms of its position, is only controlled by these pistons. And I should, if I grab these pistons... What? Oh, right, the pistons. I was like, what? Why is there one incomplete? It's the horizontal one that I didn't actually need to build since it created enough offset just by being built. Just by being placed, I should say. So we're going to need some higher impulse axes. So let's go with 250,000. And the off axis is also going to be, because there's going to be a bit of twisting to these as they push the rotor arm up. Now, just to demonstrate that this is going to work, and fingers crossed it does, otherwise I'm going to feel like a fool, let's extend this one. There we go. You can see that that's brought us up pretty much the whole way. Just that one piston. Oh dear, no. Oh, that is not good. That looked really unhealthy. Okay, so we need these 4 pistons to extend the total of 2 meters plus whatever this one is. Oy. So we'll divide that. Okay, 2.4 meters. Amongst the 4 of them, that's 600... That's, well, 600 mil each. So, maximum distance, 0.6. Velocity for all of them, let's set it to -5. So now, if we put enough of these pistons in, we should be able to push the end of this rotor arm faster than we'd be able to rotate it with just the rotor's power. Plus, we'll be able to build a longer lever arm because the pistons can generate much more force. So we should be able to improve the efficiency of this design dramatically by setting it up this way. Yeah, it's a bit of a crazy, weird layout at the moment, but I can certainly make that prettier later. Let's add another button over here. Now, I sincerely apologize to anyone who gets upset by me using the wrong terms here. I'm just going to try my best in terms of using the correct physics-based terms. Like, if I remember, I'll try and call this the fulcrum and the lever arm. I think I've got that the right way around, but if I've got it the wrong way around, hopefully my meaning is still clear, even if I am wrong. But let's have a look at how these pistons do with them pushing at a total of 20 meters per second at that rather close point on this lever. 3, 2, 1, go. Oh man, that was so quick. Oh yes, I think this is going to be incredible. Oh yes, 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 yes. I think we have a very solid contender for final design here. Oh yeah. But we've got to, even if this one does end up being the final, there are others we've got to test. One of them is using wheels as the propelling mechanism. Another is just having something spin a rotor as fast as we possibly can. Because, you know, that could be fun too. And just trying to release it at the right point. Okay, we've got our cup. It's really dark. I can't really do anything at night. You know what I'm going to do? Let's go down. I think I'm going to spend the night fiddling around with some of the camera angles for my planned battery transfer cinematic that unfortunately I didn't get a chance to do before this episode, but I'm hoping to do some work over the next couple of weeks and then put together an extra survival maybe episode that'll just be that cinematic. So I've got some plans. Hopefully they work out. Okay, I think that's going to be light enough for us to see pretty much what we're doing. And hopefully the sun's going to peak over there in no time. So we've got a little cube in our cup. Let's get ready to launch. This one's going to be nuts. Do you know what I kind of want to do? And I'm going to do it. I hate that we can't really see what's happening as this launches. So I'm going to put this button here. And it is going to be what we hit. So, ready to launch. Let's put our jetpack on so we can follow. 3, 2, 1, go! What? Oh, don't tell me that doesn't work because I didn't weld it up enough. I just thought about how infuriating that would have been just to watch as I attempt to press a button that doesn't work. Oh, it's like I'm taunting you. Alright. 3, 2, 1, launch. Where did that even go? Holy moly! What the? Okay. Height is not an issue. We definitely need to get that to go further forward. Wow. Okay, I think I've got to work on some angles here. Now, I think we need to be able to go a little bit further over. This is a little bit harder to work out when you've got the pistons attached to the catapult arm. What if we grab our rotor and set our lower limit to -90, and if we set all of our pistons to go to, let's go 0.7. See if that's going to hit, if that's going to take us far enough. Oh yeah, that's close. See if that gets us a slightly more horizontal launch. Because man, that thing went crazy high. I thought I'd completely lost it. I had no idea where it had gone. Alright, let's try this again. definitely easier to see this thing from behind. 3, 2, 1, go! Oh, it still went really high. I wonder if I need to reshape the cup so that it can, so that it kind of stops it from going super, super, super high. Yeah, that's... I don't even know if that even made it any further. Just felt like it went along almost exactly the same arc. I don't feel like I really made a difference. So let's try something else. Let's pop it back down. I really want to make sure I'm never in the way of that thing. If you are, you would get crushed and destroyed. Alright, let's grind that out. And maybe if we just go... Yeah, maybe that'll be enough. Let's try that. Because that should prevent it from going high as easily. Okay. Let's try this again. 3, 2, 1, launch. Oh, that definitely seemed a better angle. Chase, chase, chase. Chase, chase, chase. Holy. Whoa. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. Oh. Oh. Look. Look at where this is. 939 meters. Yes! And this is a light object. Oh, that is amazing. Okay, I have a thing I want to test. It's a theory I've had, and oh, it's gonna be interesting because if we can get this to help our distance, it will be a very cheap way of making some very nice range. Let's ditch that because we don't need it. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pop an unwelded mass block in. Because unwelded, those things are still really heavy. Let's see if we can get more range. Okay, launching. Oh, what's my jetpack conditions? Alright, I still got enough. Launching in 3, 2, 1, launch. Oops. Whoopsie! Okay. Mass block is a no-go. Although I kind of want to try it again. I think I'm going to try it again. Yeah, I'm going to try it again. In fact, what I might do though, let's try it just in the regular cup. Or what we might do is go like this. Pop that there, and yeah, we'll try that. So it's still the same cup, but it's just got this extra little bit up here so that it might keep it going the right angle that we want. Let's see if any of this made... Oh, I lost my button. Okay, fine. Oh, I really want my button. I want my button. Because I want to be able to see what's happening. Maybe we'll do it this way. Put the button here. And in 3, 2, 1. Oh! Whoa! Okay. That goes a lot more horizontal. Interesting. Interesting. The heavier... That's going to make it extra challenging to figure out the correct angles for this because it seems like the weight's going to make a difference to how it gets launched out of it. So let's set these pistons back to dropping shorter. To stopping earlier, I mean. Let's try even 0.5. So even shorter than our initial one and see if that mass block... This is just too fun to stop testing. Oh man, I'm so looking forward to launching stuff at the enemy this way. Yeah. This is what makes Space Engineers cool. In 3, 2, 1. Okay, that was actually really slow. Huh. That did feel really, really slow when it just launched that. I think it's heavy enough that the pistons couldn't go at their max speed. Yeah, they're definitely not. Alright, let's go crazy. Let's just add an extra 0. Let's really push this to its limit. Let's see what happens now. Because it did seem like it was going a bit slower when it was launching just then. Alright, one more try with the mass block before I decide that it's not really a good option. I've upped the power of the pistons to 250 or 20, no, 25 meganewtons? 25, I think it was. Yeah, 25 meganewtons, which is well and truly into the red zone. So all of them are providing that much force, and they're only moving 0.6 meters. Let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3. That certainly got us a bit more range. Not a lot more, though. It's definitely a much more horizontal arc when we've got the heavier object on there. Because if we go back to the standard armor block, let's see if it still does what it was doing originally. Yep, crazy high. Ooh. Okay. I feel like I've learned something useful from these tests with the mass block. First off, we probably want to end up testing most of this stuff with blocks that we're actually going to launch. And we don't need to weld them up to figure out how far we're going to be able to launch them. So I could actually just place an unwelded warhead here, and we'll see how far we can fling one of them. I'm probably not going to do flinging warheads because I kind of want to be able to drive my tank in, but that might be something I use against the final headquarters, so be useful to know. So in 3, 2, 1. Ooh. Good distance. Really good distance. Our accuracy is going to be a bit iffy. Yeah. That wasn't half bad. Still short of the 800 meters, but I guess with decoys, we don't actually need it to go as far. We could just be launching a truckload of decoys into the sky. I mean, heck, we could even see if 2 will launch together. Maybe 3. Let's do that. Let's do a little cluster launch and just see how disastrous it is. Basically, the idea with the decoys, we just have to get them close enough that they attract attention while the tank can drive in under the cover of them. So, 3, 2, 1, triple launch, go! Oh, look at that! Look at the spread! Look at the distance! I kind of lost the other two, so I'm just going to follow this one. Oh, kind of losing it. It's hard to see, but it's there. I think it bounced about here, which is a very good range. That could totally work. If I could figure out a way to drop a few of them together into a cup on a single catapult like this, I could totally launch it. Either way, I am very happy with this design, and this is a real contender. So we're going to keep it... Oops. I didn't even know how that happened. Oh, I think it kind of flung over the end and smacked into the ground. Whoops! This might be a thing that's going to happen more. Yeah, I'm messing with physics in survival. There's going to be some badness, and I'm probably going to make some more divots. Hopefully I'm not going to make a divot with my face at any point. What was I saying before I got distracted by the explosion? I think I'm going to keep this design for now because I want to be able to directly compare it to some other ones as we build them. Now, the next design I would like to try is actually a design that was posted on, weirdly enough, Reddit very recently. But it was a space-based design. This one's going to be trying to launch in atmosphere, and it's also going to be done with small grids, so it may not work anywhere near as well as the design I saw. So the design that I'm referencing was posted on Reddit by Udrakan, called the Wheelie Gun, which is really cool. It's basically a large grid missile launched with a whole bunch of wheels as the propulsion. Kind of like those football launches or tennis ball launches that people use in training for those sorts of things. I really like the idea of trying to do this in Space Engineers. The reason I'm building another rotor rather than using the same one and building off it is as I add more subgrids, I'm not exactly sure how this happens, but the initial subgrid starts to wobble a bit more. So I don't really want to add any more to that, as it'll kind of make the whole thing a bit more unstable. So we'll start new with each subsequent design. And again, this is all going to be small grids, so we may have a bit of a tougher time getting this thing to work. I probably should have started with the rotor on its side, since if we're going to be launching a projectile with wheels, we're going to need those wheels slightly tilted up so that the projectile actually gets launched high enough angle. We could do something crazy with pistons and rotors like this, but for now we'll just do it simple. And we'll go up a bit, rotor. And I'm not going to be able to mess with this angle much because the rotor's not going to be strong enough to move this whole contraption once it's built. So what I'm going to have to do is set up an angle that I'm kind of happy with, happy enough, and then just set a rotor lock so that the whole thing doesn't end up falling, because it will without the rotor lock. The rotor lock's the only thing that's going to be strong enough to hold this with a small rotor, which may be a consideration for the final design, but for the final design, I will just set up a system like this with pistons to control the angle of this rotor so that we can elevate and drop the angle that this launcher will be set at. But for now, this'll do well enough. So the general idea of something like this is we need to get enough wheels that we can accelerate this object to a high speed. And that means probably using the smallest wheels possible and using a relatively long projectile. If we use 1x1 wheels, we can get a whole bunch of them to grab the projectile at the same time. And that means we can generate more force along it. I suppose you could probably use even... I wonder if you could even use use rotors with wheels attached. You might be able to. Oh, nuts. I think that works for large grid. Oh dear. Oh dear, indeed. I'm interested. Can you place two 1x1s right side by side with large grid? Just as a random aside, one there, and one there. Nuts, you can. All right. So that's one advantage large grid has over small. You can get the wheels a bit more tightly placed. To be able to place the ones on the other side, let's grab our wheels and see if I can actually adjust this while it's in its unbuilt state. Yes, I can. Excellent. So now we've got our wheels to propel it. We're going to need a way to load the ammunition into this launcher. And the way we're going to do that is with a piston, I think. Piston, and then... I think I might even use just a rotor on the end, as then I can detach that rotor. So in between these wheels, we're going to need something for this ammunition to rest on once it's released from the rotor. And I think these blocks up here should be okay, but I won't be able to place them underneath where the blocks are currently because it gives this effect. Well, one, I can't place it right now because this thing's rotated because I ran into it. But if I were to place that like that, you can see it causes a bit of a clanging effect. Although... maybe we just deal with that. Oh, that is very unsettling. Yeah, I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that at all. I'd rather this thing fail because the launcher failed to grab onto the ammunition than the whole thing just explodes. So let's weld this up. Hopefully I've got enough on board here still. Alright. We have wheels. We now need to move them all in until they grip this, let's call it arrow. Grab all our wheels, and it's our height offset we want to adjust, and we want to have our strength high. We want these basically completely rigid so they won't move and they can really grip this thing as much as possible. Half of these wheels are going to need to be turned the opposite direction because we're going to use a propulsion override for this. We want the speed limit unlimited. We want the friction high. And we want the power high. I don't know that we want these 100%, but we'll try that at 100% for now. So if we go down to the point where we are getting glitchy. Okay. I think maybe there. Let's try minus 0.01. Can I remember the rule that I discovered with how the wheels work? Now I believe normal forward was clockwise as you looked at the wheel this way. So we want all of these ones on this side to be inverted. Okay, I think that might be working. Let's see what happens. What's this rotor called? It's just rotor and we will toggle it off. So the rotor that is off. It'll be one of these ones. That one. Rotor, let's call it arrow. And detach. Oh, that really didn't work. They all appear to be spinning the... Oh, that's so annoying. They're all doing the wrong things. Oh no, wait. Those two are doing the right thing. Why is this one going the wrong way? I must have missed it. Wait, I didn't miss these though. I don't understand. Okay, now all those ones are pushing the same way. This one. Okay, that's really weird. I haven't had to do a reload because of crashes or anything, and I haven't reloaded at all. And yet that was the only one that stayed as invert propulsion on. That's super weird. Okay, this could get explosive. Because what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to grab all our wheels. I'm going to name them as a group so I can grab them more easily next time. And I'm going to really push our propulsion override up. Then we're going to grab this sucker. No, still nothing? Really? Oh. Maybe? Almost? Oh, almost. What if we... Oh! That was the most pathetic launch ever. Oh, wow. That was terrible. Okay, so maybe something around minus 0.015 is going to be about right. So, let's set this to 0. No, let's set it to 1. No. Okay, fine. 0.2. Then, what we're going to do is I'm actually going to try a different way of loading this thing. I got to be really careful that I don't get hit by these wheels because it'll probably end me. I'm going to make this into just a loading area. So I can just pop a couple of pieces of armor in here. Because, where'd that end? Oh, I don't even know. Oh, there it is down there in the middle of the screen. It really didn't go far. So instead of launching it that way, what I'm going to try and do is crouch down here, grab this control panel, grab our wheels, and instantly set our height offset to minus 0.015. Enter. Okay, we got some real distance then. Look at this. Whoa. That is not what I was expecting. That landed just about here. Which I know we're getting angles down because I just dropped, but that's still probably over 600 meters that launched it. If we do some things to optimize this wheel launcher design, I reckon we could I reckon there's a real chance we could use this. Yeah. Now, the challenge with this being small grid is how you would load a launcher with this, but I reckon if you could have a printing mechanism above it and then a grinder to cut off the end so that the whole thing drops down as a length and then bring those wheels back into that position, you could totally drop ammo in and launch and just keep relaunching more and more rods of, well, armor, or add a warhead in the middle of them. Who knows? Whatever I feel like. Maybe even add some decoys to it. And we might be able to get that to work. That's probably all we've got time for in terms of fiddling with designs today. Next time, I want to further try and optimize this. So if you've got any tips on how to optimize this wheel design and make it even better, I would love to hear them. If you've got any other ideas about other physics-based launches that we can try and design to see if they'll work even better and maybe be easier to build loading mechanisms for, also let me know, as I would love to try as many things as I can to really see what we can use in terms of physics-based launches for this next assault. Oh man, I'm having too much fun with this. This is too cool. Space engineers, when this sort of stuff works, this is why I love you as a game. So, next time, lots more physics testing. So there's that, and plenty more to come. And I will see you then. In fact, let's finish on a launch. 1, 2. Let's see how many I can rest on here before they all fall off. 4. Maybe 5. Maybe 6. Maybe 7. No, 7 was too many. We'll go with that. All right. So there's that. Let's try that again. There is that. And plenty more to come. And these blocks are going flying. Woo! Oh man. That is a long, long launch.